Yeah, let's do it, and let's kick it off real fast. Let's go ahead and start talking Tavien Feaster.
Oh boy,
Uh,
you got me going quick. All right, let's get it started, man.
that's some big news. All right, it was kind of unexpected. Some expected, some not. We also got Shaq Smith to talk about, but let's get into Tavien Feaster first. I'm going to read you some of the quotes that he has about leaving the team and stuff like that, and entering the transfer portal. About some quotes he has on that. I haven't really thought about all that yet. Feaster said, "I'm going to take my time and weigh out all of my options and find the best place for me. You've definitely got to check the depth charts. I didn't think I was in a bad position at Clemson, but personal reasons are why I left. I definitely have to check the depth chart. Can a team provide what I'm looking for? That's mainly what I'm worried about right there. I want to go to a team where I'm not the only good player," Feaster said. "I want to go to a team that has weapons around me. They already got weapons and I can come in and contribute. Then hopefully we can get to the playoffs." So, I mean, he's got all these quotes about his transferring, about his options. There's several teams that are looking at him. Uh, there's an interesting quote I thought about playing against his teammates that he says, "To me, it wouldn't be weird. Those are my guys down there. They understood the situation. Before I left, I spoke with my guys and told them the situation, and this was best for me. Everybody agreed. It is what it is. If I have to see them down the road, that's just the way it will have to be. Like old times, like old practice times, I guess." So some interesting quotes from him there, and some a lot of talk is going on about South Carolina recruiting him. A lot of people think there's a shot he ends up at South Carolina. And he says about South Carolina recruiting him, they're recruiting me like most teams. Obviously, they want to talk to me and see where I'm at with everything. That's really how it's been with everybody. Everybody has seen where my head is and where I'm at with everything. But I look at South Carolina as a place that's provided me with an opportunity to better myself and better my future. I haven't really looked at it from a fan's aspect because that's not my job and that's not what I'm doing it for. That doesn't really matter to me. What really matters to me is that I go to a place that's going to use me and play me in the way that I need to be played. Check all the marks that I need to check. So that's a lot to unpack there. Okay,
Oh
that's a
that
lot
oh
to
that
unpack.
that is
But
a
we'll just
lot. Thank you for reading that, and
yeah,
it's not really. It wasn't. It had been talked about earlier this year, so it really wasn't that big of a shock as much as now the second guy in line, Shaq Smith. But just reading it, just listening to you say it, I got kind of four things that I feel like he picked out there. First thing he
okay,
said was personal reasons. And Quack and Kelly kind of talked about we can speculate all day, personal reasons,
right.
but we really don't know. He's the knower of that. His family, his friends, maybe his teammates probably know the personal reasons. The depth chart was something that was interesting to me. That was the second thing he mentioned, and I felt like weapons around him. That was another key thing that I felt like he said was important to him or something he was looking for in the next
Sure.
team. Leaving a team with weapons around him to get another team with weapons around him is a little confusing to me. But then
Right.
finally, he said a playoff contender. Again, that's another. I'm leaving a playoff contender to get to a playoff contender because originally my thought was, well, he's done everything. He's about to graduate. Let's hope everything goes fine. He's going to graduate in August.
Sure.
He's won two rings, and so what else does he need to accomplish? What else does he need to prove in an orange uniform? I can get that. But then he says, I want to be a playoff contender. I'm just a little confused, man.
Yeah, it's a lot to read into, and I think it's a lot of things that you have to look at when you hear spring practice and you hear coaches talk about spring practice. There's a certain amount of coach speak there, and you kind of got to dissect what's true and what's not true. The personal reasons I would imagine is he's not the main guy and he wants to be the main guy. That's kind of my feelings on it. Obviously we have Travis Etienne and we have emerging Lynn J. Dixon. Maybe he's not going to get the snaps that he thought he deserved. And Feaster's a good back. He ran really hard, especially at the end of last year. I thought I was really impressed with him this past year. Definitely could have helped the team. So it's a little bit discouraging. It definitely is a hit to the depth chart, but I'm sure we'll be fine regardless. And I'm sure he'll do good wherever he goes. Let's get some of these people that are watching us now. I know my parents are watching. I think your folks are watching too. So it's good to see you guys. Maribeth, my wonderful wife, of course, is watching. I have not seen Audrey's name pop up, so I'm not going to say hey to her. I'll let you do that. When she pops up. I noticed Alice and Charity are watching. Thanks for joining us, and the Mulkeys. It's good to see you guys join us tonight to talk everything Clemson. We appreciate you guys' support. So tell me a little bit about what you think. I mean, is it going to hurt Clemson? Obviously, it's not. You wouldn't look at it on the surface as a good thing, but is it going to really impact us or not?
Well, before I get into that, we do have Dodie and Joey, my mom and dad. So thank you for joining. And then Dustin Dobbins, a friend of mine, joined the show. Welcome to the show, Alice. Matt Mulkey talked about Shaq Smith, what's going on. He's kind of concerned there. Michael Gilbert, also concerned, says that he can go to USC. Thought he wanted to go to a contender, not a pretender. That's what Michael's saying about USC there. Dean Cox is joining us as well. And he says, I jinxed baseball and Shaq with us. So, that we won't hold it against you. I mean, it's not really up to you, Dean. So don't beat yourself up over it. But I got a lot of things going on. Like I said, I got to avoid personal reasons. I don't really know what that is. And like Kelly said on the Roar, personal reasons could easily be depth chart reasons. They could kind of intermingle. And Kwok even said a couple of days or yesterday, he was like, personal reasons could be a girlfriend. We don't know. We have no idea. It could be any realm of possibility there. Depth chart to me is kind of confusing because he's a number 2 guy. I mean, Lynn J. Dixon didn't seem like he was beefy, bulky enough and to be that kind of number 2 guy. I felt like the 1-2 punch was TNT. But now we're seeing that maybe there were some, I texted this to you earlier. I'm feeling like maybe there was a roster posted on some billboard somewhere or some, board outside the locker room. And now people are like, oh man, forget this. I'm out of here. I don't think that that's the way it is, but that sounds like what high school would be like, right? Back in the West Side Rams days, right? But I feel like that Dabo Swinney's might be having some personal conversation with these guys, might be having some one-on-one meetings going into the summer and getting some real talk to some of these guys about kind of how they performed, how they've been doing. I don't really know. I mean, it's interesting to see. I wish I was kind of a fly on the wall, right, to know what's going on. Shaq Smith, I have some speculation about too, but weapons around him, he's got weapons around him at Clemson. Playoff contender, he's at a playoff contender. Depth chart, he mentioned he wanted to contribute, so it was kind of like he didn't mind. He felt like he also mentioned that he was in a good spot at Clemson, so that was confusing too. But here are some of the teams that he named. And I want to run through these real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here are some of the teams that he named and kind of my pros and cons, okay? So, and you can tell me what you think. But Oklahoma, I felt like this was a pretty good one. But then I started looking at Oklahoma a little bit more. If you're watching the show and you want to tell us where you think he's going to go, just like Michael did, let us know. But Oklahoma has the weapons. They're going to go to they're going to have a good chance to go in the playoffs. But the only problem that they have, so that was the pro. The con that they have for him is they're returning 2 1,000-yard rushers in Trey Sermon and Kennedy Brooks. So to me, and then they're adding another really good rusher called Jalen Hurts. So
That's a good point.
Now they've got 3. I feel like he's going to get crowded. It's a playoff contender, yes, and they do have weapons. But I don't feel like he's in any better spot there than he would be at Clemson. The only difference is that he could possibly win a ring that didn't have a tiger paw on it. And why in the world would you want to do that?
I agree with you there. That's a good point.
You might as well be getting a Jostens ring. Now, I'm not saying against Jostens, but Texas was another list another team on the list. I feel like weapons, they're going to have some. They definitely need running backs. I read some articles where going into National Signing Day, most of the fans were sweating. They were so nervous if they could pick up a running back, and they actually didn't really pick up any big-time running backs. So they kind of needed a running back. They need a running back right now. Are they going to go to the playoffs? Well, they're definitely hyped to go to the playoffs. But the problem is that hype doesn't win games. As we know, you actually got to get on the field and win the games. And I'm not completely sold on Texas just because they beat up on Georgia, who, my dog friends are going to say Georgia didn't want to be there anyways. But you got beat up, and it was amazing to see you get beat up because just you're in the SEC, and I want to see you get beat up because you said you were supposed to be in the title game because that's what you deserve, but whatever. But they're going to have to fight. Texas is going to have to fight Oklahoma twice, more than likely. So they got a very hard road to get to the playoffs. That doesn't really match up, but I felt like Texas actually, if you look at it, was a better choice for him, one of the better ones. You got Alabama. Now, this would be shocking to me if he went to Alabama, but let's just say he did. They've obviously got weapons. They're obviously got a good chance to go to the playoffs. But here's a problem with Alabama. They've got a 5-star running back that just came in from IMG, Trey Sanders. And they're saying that he's, the next Trent Richardson. So, I mean, but he could easily be the second guy at Alabama. But if you could go to Alabama, why are you going to go to Alabama when you just stayed at Clemson? That doesn't make any sense to me. That kind of goes back to the personal reasons for me. East Carolina, to me, I mean, playing time would be about the only thing. No playoffs, weapons. Compared to what team? Virginia Tech, the same thing. No playoffs, weapons. Compared to what? They got to play Miami, Notre Dame, and Virginia away. So to me, Virginia Tech, no way. Carolina, though, the more I think about it, the more I think that might be a good spot for him. They definitely have some wide receiver weapons. The quarterback, the experts love the quarterback, but the fans hate the quarterback. So all of my Gamecock friends at work hate Bentley, but all the things